Here I am in southern Utah, and I'm really excited to be able to get the chance to speak with the head of Jeep North America, Jim Morrison. Jim, how are you?
Oh, good. After a day like today, how could we not be good?
It's been an eventful day. There's been a lot of sand. There's sand in my mouth, eyes, and shoes. And all the Jeeps that we're left with came back with us, and they're probably in better shape than I am.
Yeah, that's part of the fun. You know, we got to experience rock, sand, sun, wind. It was great. What a great day.
And it's such a great day here in 2023, where we're in such a different era than when Jeeps first started coming out. And certainly in the late 20th century, when Jeeps really kind of became epically popular. We're in a very different world in terms of propulsion, electrification, automation, all these different things. And yet the Jeep perseveres largely untouched. How?
You know, it's our customers that drive us, and the drive to have the open air experience, you know, freedom and adventure is still what drives us here at Jeep. And, you know, even 82 years after the original 1941 Willys, we still have a vehicle that is very representative of that. You saw it here today, you know, the two-door Willys that we had. We upped the ante here for 2024 on capability with that Jeep. And then there's the Extreme. We also have a 392 as well as our 4xe, America's best-selling plug-in hybrid. So, you know, America's certainly going through a transition, and our customers are helping us transition. Jeep has got lots of choices. We go through that transition, but one thing that maintains consistent is our joy of adventure and our quest to have the best 4x4s. And you saw that here today.
Well, I mean, Jeep is almost a microcosm of the change that we're seeing in the industry. We have a naturally aspirated V6, a turbocharged 4-cylinder, a plug-in hybrid, and then an iron block old school V8, all options on the Wrangler. It's fascinating to see that. And yet the Wrangler is still body on frame.
Yes.
The Wrangler is still I mean, let's be blunt, the coefficient of drag is terrible.
It's a brick. Yeah. And the original 41 was a brick, and that's one thing our customers just keep demanding we don't change. So we don't change. You know, a couple degrees of the windshield, you know, here back in 2018, that was a big move for us. But, you know, we have to maintain some of the things. And that's the biggest challenge for our engineers, is because, you know, all of these things are changing, but yet our Jeep customers are demanding that we stay true to form. And that's where the brilliance comes in, because, you know, the electrification is helping our four-wheel drives be the best four-wheel drives. Our 4xEs today are the best 4x4s out there. They even outperform, in some ways, the 392. And, you know, both 470 pound-feet of torque, but the way that the electric seamlessly puts that power to the ground, it's even easier than the V8. So, you know, there's, again, lots of choice, lots of challenges for our engineers, but the nice thing is we're staying true to form as Jeep.
Well, that's what's really fascinating, because just objectively speaking, you know, things change. When you have electric propulsion, crawl ratios and how that's applied is totally different. And, you know, all the different gearing and transfer cases, all that kind of stuff, a lot of that gets simplified in a lot of ways. And yet, just as you've been describing, the Jeep customer is a customer that is not open to large amounts of change, and yet kind of the global trend is forcing change. So how does Jeep blend those two together?
You know, I think it all comes down to capability. And, you know, we've had lots of conversations, you know, with some of our concepts, Magneto 1, 2, and 3, you know, at each Jeep Safari and Moab, and, you know, driving, you know, in a Jeep Beach, you know, 300,000 people. We get lots of feedback on what they want. And the bottom line is they always want better capability. You know, the nice thing is there are some people that want straight up electric Jeeps. We can't wait to do that. We've got the Recon coming, we've got the Wagoneer S coming. And then we've got kind of in the transition stage, we have our plug-in hybrid. And it gives you a great example of, you can plug it in. Sometimes you never have to even put fuel in it. You can run, you know, 20 miles a day, and I've gone weeks on end where I haven't had to put fuel in my 4xe. Or you don't have to even worry about range anxiety. It's fantastic. You've got the best of both worlds. And again, combined, you know, 470 pound-feet of torque. So it's a great Jeep. So you put all of that together, and there's lots of options, you know, for our customers.
For a long time, Jeep was pretty much uncompromised. They were the only player out there that truly went off-road. A few years ago, Ford came out with a Bronco. What, if in any way, shape, or form, did the Bronco influence any part of Jeep? How did Jeep look at the Bronco's existence?
You know, it all comes down to competition is good for any business, and you know, we've been able to do a lot of interventions, you know, with the Wrangler since the competitive marketplace has changed, and you know, we've added electrification with 4xe. We've added 392 with a V8. You know, today we've upped the ante with all that we've done with the new 24, with all of the extra technology that we've added. So, you know, competition's been good for us. You know, we continue to bring new customers in with 4xe. You know, we continue to make our loyal customers happy, you know, with the whole range. So, you know, ultimately we're continuing to set sales and share of industry records with Wrangler. So, you know, competition's good.
The core of the Jeep brand is the Wrangler. When you say the word Jeep, they think of the Jeep Wrangler. And yet,
maybe Grand Cherokee too.
Well,
yeah,
but,
maybe Grand
and
Cherokee
there we
too.
go. I mean,
if you're in the Northeast, you think Grand Cherokee, snow, and you know, so it depends. But
you know, there's also
Wrangler is strong for sure.
But there's also the Grand Cherokee, of course, but also the Wagoneer
Yes.
is back, and you know, then there's been smaller Jeeps of various guises that come and go.
Yes.
And how do you reconcile the core of what a Jeep is with the larger Jeep brand? How does that brand expand while still retaining its core values?
You know, it all comes back to the core principles of the brand: freedom, adventure, authenticity, and passion. And you know, a lot of the community and the passion, you know, comes from our Wrangler folks. You're right; they drive the brand for sure, and it's a great community. It's the strength of the brand. You know, they really are the drivers of the brand. They want to make sure that we stay true to form, and they're going to continue to drive us in the future.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's just a fascinating being in this hugely transitive time for the industry and seeing brands like Jeep move towards this transition, and yet, at least up to today, and the 2024 Wrangler is proof, continue to retain its core values while following this transition. It's been really remarkable to see, and it makes me cautiously optimistic for what the future will bring. Jim, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me.
Thank you.
This is a 2024 Jeep Wrangler, a new generation of an old school classic that has way more technology than ever before.